Hello everyone, today we are going to see the concept of cognitive psychology. Definition: the term cognition refers to the acquisition, storage, transformation, use of knowledge. Cognitive psychology used as the synonym for cognition and also theoretical approach to psychology. Cognitive psychology is the scientific study of mental process such as attention, language use, memory, perception, problem solving, creativity, and reasoning. Historical roots from philosophy to psychology. Philosophically, the roots of cognition is from the time of ancient Greeks. In 387 BC, Plato had suggested that the brain was the seat of the mental process. In 384 to 322 BC, Greek philosopher Aristotle explained the topics such as perception, memory, and mental imagery. Some of the key figures, pioneers of cognitive psychology are William Wundt. William Wundt, 1832 to 1920, a German psychologist, philosopher, and professor, known today as one of the father of modern psychology. So he also gave us a theory called process theory. Psychology is interested in the current process, that is, the mental changes and the functional relationships between perception, cognition, emotion, and motivation. He proposed that psychology should study personal processes using a technique called introspection. He also conducted experiments on memory, which could be considered today as iconic memory, short-term memory, and enactment and generation effects. Hermann Ebbinghaus, 24 January 1850 to 26 January 1909. He was a German psychologist who pioneered the experimental study of memory and is known for his discovery of the forgetting curve and spacing effect. He was also the first person to describe the learning curve. He also constructed more than 200 nonsense syllables. William James, January 11, 1842, August 26 to 1910, father of American psychology. He mainly wrote a textbook called Principles of Psychology, which consists of topics like perception, attention, memory, reasoning, and tip of the tongue phenomena. John B. Watson, January 9 to 1878 to September 25 to 1958. He mainly focused on the concepts like language, speech, and memory. Watson argued that mental activity could not be observed. In his book Behaviorism in 1924, he had discussed about his thoughts on language and also memory thinking. Jean Piaget, one of the famous behaviorists, and he worked outside the boundary of behaviorism, and he studied the thoughts, language, and intelligence of children and adults. So the new field in the psychology emerged was Gestalt principle. It was founded on the works by Kurt Kollfka, Max Waldheimer, and Wolfgang Kohler. Work related to cognition are figure and ground organization and principle of perception, etc. Next person is Frederick C. Barrett, 20 October 1886, 30 September 1969, British psychologist and the first professor of experimental psychology at the University of Cambridge, conducted memory research using long stories and other meaningful materials. So some other works are philosophical debates were continued during this era. The mid to late 19th century was a critical time in the development of psychology as a scientific discipline. Two discoveries that could later play substantial role in cognitive psychology were Paul Broca's discovery of the area of the brain largely responsible for the language production, Carl Wernicke's discovery of an area thought to be mostly responsible for the comprehension of language. In the mid of 20th century, three main influences arose that would inspire and shape cognitive psychology as a firm school of thought. Behaviorism provided little, if any, insight into these matters, and it was the work of Donald Dept, integrating concepts from human performance research and the recently developed information theory, that forged the way in the area. Alan Newell and Herbert Simon spent years developing the concepts of artificial intelligence, AI, and later worked with the cognitive psychologists regarding the implication of AI. Noam Chomsky, 1959, initiated cognitive revolution inside psychology. J.S. Berner, J.J. Goodnow, and G.A. Augustine wrote a study of thinking in 1956. Berner and Miller found the Harvard Center for Cognitive Studies, which institutionalized the revolution and launched the field of cognitive science. Nelson put the term cognitive psychology into common use through his book Cognitive Psychology, published in 1967. The term cognition refers to all processes by which the sensory input is transformed, reduced, elaborated, stored, recovered, and used. It is concerned with these processes even when they operate in the absence of relevant stimulation, as in the images and hallucinations. So exactly, the birth of cognitive psychology was on 1956. Finally, the cognitive psychology has been emerged in this era.